Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. I am so excited for the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this month we are definitely going to get into toxic mothers. Our interviewees this month will be sharing their triumphing stories on how they healed from toxic and karmic motherhood situations with their mothers and with themselves. I'm so happy to share these interviews with you. Be sure to check them all out. There's going to be several throughout the month, so give a heads up. I love you all and thank you so much. We are all healing, and as always, each one teach one. Remain true
That is
to
beautiful.
you.
And when we hold things in, we feel like we're the only person that's gone through it. And losing a child, whether you had to abort it, whether you had a stillborn or gone through your situation, it is traumatizing. It can put you back a couple of notches in your life. But
Yeah.
you made that choice to move forward, to I'm not going to be stuck here. And speaking of spirituality, I honestly believe that when a child passes on, they are there with you spiritually. They are watching over
Yeah.
you, they're crying with you, they are with you 100%. You know, I truly believe in that, and I'm so glad that you wrote your book, and I'm glad that you was able to get help, so you didn't need to call or go into suicide or anything like that, because it does take effect different types of ways for different types of people, especially if they didn't have support, you know. But you had the support, you got yourself out of the situation, and I'm loving to hear that because there are many women that go through traumatic situations such as that and they don't seem to make it, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, there were definitely times where I was suicidal and I was in a very dark place, but I was lucky enough to have a husband that supported me and would kind of look at the signs of when I was in trouble and would walk through the fire with me and say, look, we need to take the next step. We need to get you the next level of help. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely has been a process. Hope died September 1st, 2017. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, so it's 2022 now, and I can't believe that she would be almost 5 years old now. But it's feels like it was just yesterday. But honestly, the spiritual healing and the EMDR and writing the book and finding this purpose has started to it started to change the grief and started to put some distance between the trauma and the pain and the work that I'm doing now.
Yes. Time will heal, and so does
Yes.
love.
If you feel as if you have been going through toxic situations that may have you feeling all out of sorts, if you feel as if you have been dealing with suicidal thoughts, schizophrenia, or bipolarism, log on to www.mhanational.org and get the help that you need. It is very discreet. No one needs to know your business, but we all would like for you to get help. This organization has been around since 1949 and has reaped great rewards in helping millions of people who have reached out to them just to get on track. I hope this helps you all.
So, what tips do you have for our listeners possibly going through this similar situation?
Don't My number one tip would be don't wait to have your truth tour. One of the things that deepen some of the scarring with Hope was that the only people that knew that we had an abortion as opposed to just miscarrying Hope were my parents. And that's because we couldn't afford to have an abortion. Between my parents and the Kansas Abortion Fund, they covered the cost, because otherwise it would have been $2,400. And so my parents were the only ones that knew. And finally, when the book was coming out and it was going to be advertised and everything, my husband and I went on a truth tour with our families, and it was very scary because we'd been holding this to ourselves for so long, worrying what people were going to think, that because we had an abortion, we have very conservative families. We're in Kansas City, which straddles Missouri and Kansas. And it was so freeing to tell the truth about what happened to Hope, and to have our families and some friends really embrace us, for not only telling them the truth, but for having the courage to have to go through what we went through.
Yes.
So the truth tour.
Wrote that in. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So don't wait to do your truth tour. And then I would say doing this narrative meditation is transformative, because it helps you take yourself out of the trauma, in a way, because you are pushing it out into the universe, and you don't necessarily have to share it with anyone. You don't necessarily have to blog about it or write a book about it, but by writing it down, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order. Mine started with having to argue between the clinic and the funeral home with the fact that they hadn't picked up my daughter for 3 days. Yeah, that was a whole thing added to the trauma. But that's where I started. And that was, 3 days after she died. And really, I just let it flow out of me. And it changed how I was able to look at the trauma.
After hearing this wonderful triumphing story of a mother who has to overcome losing her child, I want you guys to visit From the Green Desk at www.fromthegreendesk.com, as they are doing a 50-state challenge to get awareness out for mothers who had to lose their children in simple situations as such. Thank you all for tuning in. Only on The Karma of It All for the full episode. See you over there.